The champagne flute shattered against the hardwood floor as I froze in the doorway, my heart plummeting into an abyss. There, in the dim glow of the string lights from our backyard engagement party, my fiancé Levi was locked in a passionate kiss with my younger brother, Jamie. The world tilted, the laughter and music from outside fading into a distant hum, as betrayal sliced through me like a knife. I stumbled back, my mind reeling. How could this be happening? Levi, the man I'd built my life around for 3 years, the one who'd proposed just 2 months ago under the stars in Central Park, now entangled with my own flesh and blood. Jamie, my little brother, the one I'd protected from bullies in high school, the one who'd come out to me first because he trusted me more than anyone. The irony burned. I turned and fled down the hallway, pushing past guests who stared in confusion, my chest tight with a storm of rage and sorrow. By the time I reached the front porch, the cool New York night air hit me like a slap. I leaned against the railing, gasping for breath. Our brownstone in Brooklyn was supposed to be a symbol of our future. Levi and I had scrimped and saved to buy it last year. Now it felt like a prison. Footsteps approached, and I whirled around to see Levi, his shirt rumpled, eyes wide with panic. "Ethan, wait. It's not what you think." "Not what I think?" I hissed, my voice low to avoid drawing more attention. "I saw you kissing my brother at our engagement party. What part of that is open to interpretation?" Levi ran a hand through his dark hair, looking desperate. "It just happened. Jamie and we've been talking a lot lately. About you, about life. He's going through stuff, and one thing led to another." "Talking? That's your excuse." I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow. My mind flashed back to the past few months. Jamie had been staying with us more often, claiming he needed space from our conservative parents back in Connecticut. Dad, a strict Lutheran minister, and Mom, who clung to traditional values, had never fully accepted Jamie's sexuality. They tolerated mine only because I was the successful son, the one with a steady job as a graphic designer in Manhattan. But Jamie, at 22, still in college, bore the brunt of their disapproval. Levi stepped closer, his voice pleading. "Ethan, I love you. This was a mistake. Jamie feels awful too. We can fix this." I shook my head, tears stinging my eyes. "Fix it? You've destroyed everything. How long has this been going on?" He hesitated, and that pause was damning. "A few weeks, but it's not serious. It's just confusion. Confusion." The word echoed in my skull. I thought of our family dinners, the way Levi and Jamie had laughed together, shared inside jokes. Had I been blind? Or worse, complicit in ignoring the signs because I was too focused on planning our wedding? Jamie appeared then, his face pale, eyes red-rimmed. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't mean to?" I snapped. "You're my brother. We're supposed to have each other's backs, not stab them." He flinched. "I know, but living with Mom and Dad is suffocating. They keep pushing me to pray it away, to date girls." Levi was the first person who really listened without judging. Levi nodded eagerly. "See? It's not about us betraying you. It's about helping Jamie." Helping him by cheating on me? The hypocrisy boiled over. I stormed back inside, grabbing my keys from the hall table. Guests murmured as I passed, but I didn't care. I needed air, space, anything but this nightmare. Driving aimlessly through the city, I ended up at Prospect Park, pulling over and staring at the dark trees. My phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from Levi begging me to come back, from Jamie apologizing profusely, even one from Mom asking if everything was okay at the party. How could I tell her? Our family was already fractured. Dad's sermons often railed against the gay agenda, though he'd grudgingly attended my college graduation. Revealing this would shatter what little peace we had. Hours later, I returned home to find Levi asleep on the couch, Jamie gone. I sat in the kitchen, nursing a coffee, my mind a whirlwind. Betrayal from two people I loved most. But beneath the anger, doubt crept in. Was I partly to blame? I'd been working long hours, neglecting the emotional cracks in our relationships. Levi had mentioned feeling distant, Jamie had confided his struggles. Had I dismissed them? The next morning, Levi woke with remorse etched on his face. "We need to talk," he said. I nodded, steeling myself. "Yeah, we do. But first, tell me everything. No lies." He confessed it started innocently, late-night talks while I was at the office. Jamie's pain resonated with Levi's own past. He'd grown up in a similar repressive household in Texas. One evening, after too much wine, they kissed. It escalated from there, stolen moments when I wasn't around. "Why didn't you stop?" I demanded. "I tried," Levi whispered. "But Jamie needed someone, and I felt alive in a way I haven't with you lately." The words stung. Our relationship had become routine, work, bills, wedding plans. Passion had faded into comfort. But was that justification for infidelity? Jamie called later, his voice trembling. "Can we meet? I need to explain." We met at a coffee shop in Williamsburg. He looked wrecked, bags under his eyes. "Ethan, I hate myself for this. But Mom and Dad, they're planning to cut me off if I don't change." Levi understood that fear. I sighed. "I get it, Jamie. I lived it too. But betraying me isn't the answer." He nodded, tears falling. "What now?" "I don't know," I admitted. The weight of family expectations pressed down. Dad would see this as proof of our sinful lifestyle. Mom would blame herself. And me? I'd have to choose between forgiveness and self-respect. As days turned to weeks, the tension mounted. Levi and I slept in separate rooms, our conversations strained. Jamie moved back home, facing our parents' wrath alone. Whispers at work, Levi was my colleague at the design firm, added to the humiliation. Friends took sides, some urging reconciliation, others demanding I walk away. One evening, Dad called. "Son, your mother and I heard about the party. What's going on?" I hesitated, then lied. "Just a misunderstanding." But lies have a way of unraveling. And as the threads pulled, I wondered if our family could survive the truth. The lie hung over me like a storm cloud, but I couldn't bring myself to shatter my parents' illusions just yet. Dad's voice on the phone had been laced with concern, not suspicion, and I clung to that fragile normalcy. Meanwhile, Levi tiptoed around our home, his every gesture an attempt at atonement. Cooking my favorite meals, leaving notes of apology. But trust, once broken, doesn't mend with pasta and paper. At work, the office buzzed with unspoken questions. Our firm, a mid-sized agency in Midtown Manhattan, thrived on creativity but wilted under drama. Levi, the senior art director, and I, his junior designer, had always kept our relationship professional. Now, colleagues shot sidelong glances during meetings. Sarah, my closest work friend, pulled me aside one afternoon. "Ethan, you look like hell. Want to talk?" I shook my head. "Not here." After hours, we grabbed beers at a dive bar near Grand Central. "Levi and your brother? That's messed up," she said after I spilled the basics. "Yeah," I muttered. "And now I have to decide if I can forgive them." She raised an eyebrow. "Forgive or forget? There's a difference." Her words echoed as I commuted home on the subway, the rattle of the train mirroring my chaotic thoughts. Forgiveness meant acknowledging their pain, Jamie's isolation, Levi's dissatisfaction. But forgetting? Impossible. Every time I looked at Levi, I saw Jamie's lips on his. That night, Levi confronted me in the living room. "We can't go on like this. Therapy? Couples counseling?" I considered it. Maybe. But what about Jamie? He's part of this too. Levi winced. "I've cut off contact. Blocked his number." "Good," I said, though it felt hollow. Jamie was family. I couldn't block him out forever. The next day, Jamie showed up at my office unannounced, his face gaunt. "Ethan, please. Mom and Dad are making me see a counselor, the kind who thinks being gay is a choice." My heart ached. "Come on, let's talk outside." We walked to Bryant Park, sitting on a bench amid the lunchtime crowd. "They're pressuring me to move out if I don't comply," he continued. "I have nowhere else to go." "You can't stay with us," I said firmly. Not after what happened. He nodded. I know. But can you talk to them? You're the golden child. They listen to you. The label stung. Golden child because I'd hidden my struggles better? I'd come out in college, far from home, building a life in the city where acceptance was easier. Jamie, still under their roof during his teens, had suffered more directly. I'll try, I promised, though dread coiled in my gut. That weekend, I drove to Connecticut, the familiar suburbs closing in like a noose. Mom greeted me at the door with a hug, her eyes searching. You look tired, honey. Dad, in his study, was more direct. What's troubling you, son? I took a breath. It's about Jamie. Dad's expression hardened. That boy needs guidance. We've enrolled him in a program to help with his confusion. It's not confusion, Dad. He's gay, like me. And your program is conversion therapy. It's harmful. Mom gasped. Ethan, it's faith-based counseling. We're trying to save his soul. Save it from what? Loving someone? My voice rose. You accepted me. Why not him? Dad stood. We accepted you because you live responsibly. No scandals. Jamie's wild, partying, bringing shame. Shame. The word ignited memories. Dad's disapproval when I first came out. His reluctant blessing only after I proved myself normal, with a stable job and relationship. Now that facade was cracking. If you force this on Jamie, you'll lose him, I warned. And maybe me too. The drive back was silent, my mind racing. Had I just drawn a line in the sand? Back home, Levi waited anxiously. How'd it go? Badly, I admitted. They're set in their ways. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Ethan, I'm trying here. I know, I sighed. But every time I think about you and Jamie. Weeks passed in a tense limbo. Jamie crashed on a friend's couch, avoiding home. Levi and I attended counseling, where the therapist probed our issues, communication breakdowns, unmet needs. Infidelity often stems from deeper problems, she said. True, but it didn't erase the hurt. Then, a bombshell. Jamie texted me a photo of a positive pregnancy test. From his ex-girlfriend? No, wait, he called. Frantic. Ethan, remember Lisa? From high school. We hooked up once before I came out fully. She's pregnant and it's mine. My jaw dropped. What? But you're gay. I was experimenting, denying myself. Now she's keeping it, and Mom and Dad will freak. The complexity deepened. Jamie, grappling with his identity under pressure, had made a desperate choice. Now, a child complicated everything. I met Lisa at a cafe. She was calm, determined. I don't want anything from Jamie, but he deserves to know. Back home, I told Levi. His face paled. This changes things. Yeah, I agreed. For all of us. As the news spread, family dynamics shifted. Mom cried. Dad raged about irresponsibility. Jamie, overwhelmed, leaned on me more. Levi, feeling sidelined, grew distant again. One night, after a heated argument, Levi packed a bag. I need space, he said. Space, I echoed. Or an escape. He left, and I sat alone, wondering if our love was salvageable amid the wreckage. Levi's departure left a void in the brownstone. Echoes of our shared life mocking me from every corner. I threw myself into work, designing campaigns that distracted from the chaos. But at night, insomnia gripped me, replaying the kiss, the confessions, the crumbling foundations. Jamie, meanwhile, navigated impending fatherhood with Lisa. They decided on co-parenting, a pragmatic choice amid his turmoil. I love men, Ethan, he confided over lunch. But this kid, I have to step up. I nodded, admiring his resolve. Dad's not going to make it easy. Indeed, when Jamie broke the news, Dad exploded. A child out of wedlock? With a girl you barely know? This is what happens when you stray from God's path. Mom, torn, mediated. We can help with the baby. But Jamie, you need to commit to change. Change. The ultimatum hung heavy. Jamie refused, moving into a small apartment in Queens with student loans and part-time gigs. I helped with the deposit, straining my finances. At therapy, now solo sessions, I unpacked my resentment. Why forgive Levi when he betrayed me with family? The therapist leaned forward. Betrayal hurts deepest from those we love. But understanding motives can lead to healing or closure. Closure sounded tempting. Levi texted sporadically, checking in. Miss you, one read. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I focused on mending family ties. A family meeting at my parents' house loomed, orchestrated by Mom's pleas. The dinner table was tense, silverware clinking like warning bells. Dad started grace. His prayer pointed, "Guide us from temptation and sin." Jamie shifted uncomfortably, cleared my throat. "Dad, we need to talk openly." He eyed me. "About what?" "Your broken engagement." Word had leaked. Yes, and more. Levi and I are on a break because, well, he and Jamie had an affair. Silence descended, broken by Mom's sob. Dad's face reddened. "What? My sons? With the same man? This is abomination." Jamie stood. "It's not like that. It was a mistake. Born from your rejection." "Rejection?" Dad bellowed. "We raised you right. This lifestyle leads to ruin. Look at this mess." I intervened. "Dad, your intolerance pushed Jamie to hide, to make bad choices. And me? I've hidden too, pretending everything's fine." Mom whispered, "We love you both. But the church." "The church isn't family," I snapped. "We are." The argument escalated, voices overlapping in accusations. Jamie stormed out. Dad retreated to his study. Mom and I sat in the kitchen, her hands trembling. "I don't know what to do, Ethan. Accept us as we are," I said gently. "Or lose us." Back in Brooklyn, solitude amplified doubts. Was defending Jamie worth alienating my parents? And Levi, did I want him back? A surprise visit from Sarah shifted perspective. "Heard Levi is staying with friends. You okay?" "Not really," I admitted. She hugged me. "You deserve better. But if you love him, fight for it with boundaries." Inspired, I called Levi. "Meet me?" We met at our favorite spot in Central Park where he'd proposed. He looked weary. "Ethan, I messed up, but I want to make it right." "How?" I asked. "By being honest. I felt neglected, but that's no excuse." And Jamie. It was a cry for help, for both of us. We talked for hours, dissecting emotions. Forgiveness flickered, but trust lagged. Then Jamie's crisis peaked. Lisa went into early labor. The baby arrived premature but healthy. A boy named Lucas. At the hospital, Jamie beamed through exhaustion. "He's perfect." I held my nephew, a tiny miracle amid strife. Mom arrived, tears in her eyes, cradling Lucas. "He's beautiful." Dad followed reluctantly, his stern facade cracking at the sight. A grandson. For a moment, unity prevailed, but reality intruded. Dad pulled Jamie aside. "This child needs a stable home. Reconsider the counseling." Jamie refused. "I won't pretend for you." The standoff continued. Levi visited the hospital, awkward but sincere. "Congrats, Jamie." "Thanks," Jamie mumbled, tension palpable. Later, Levi and I walked home. "Seeing that baby puts things in perspective," he said. "Yeah," I agreed. "Life's too short for grudges." We reconciled tentatively, Levi moving back in. But shadows lingered, Jamie's defiance, parental pressure. Months later, at Lucas's baptism, a compromise ceremony, tensions boiled. Dad insisted on traditional vows. Jamie pushed for inclusivity. Words flew, culminating in Dad's ultimatum, "Choose God or this path." Jamie chose his truth, walking out with Lucas. I followed, Levi by my side. Mom stayed, torn. The fracture deepened. Dad disinvited us from holidays, citing moral differences. Jamie struggled as a single dad, Lisa helping sporadically. In our home, Levi and I rebuilt, but scars remained. One night, he confessed, "I still think about Jamie sometimes, not romantically, but his pain." "Me too," I admitted. But we can't fix everything. As high points mingled with lows, I questioned every decision. Was reconciliation worth the cost? The holidays approached like a gathering storm. Our family splintered beyond recognition. Thanksgiving without Dad's turkey or Mom's pies felt empty. Jamie hosted a small gathering in his cramped apartment, Lucas gurgling in his high chair. Levi and I brought sides, the atmosphere strained but warm. Miss them? Jamie asked as we cleaned up. Every day, I replied. But not enough to compromise. He nodded. Lucas deserves better than conditional love. Work provided refuge. A big project landed, a campaign for an LGBTQ+ advocacy group. Irony abounded. Designing messages of acceptance while my own life frayed. Levi, leading the team, poured passion into it. This is for us, he said during a late-night session. For Jamie too, I added. Our relationship strengthened through shared purpose. Intimacy returned, cautious but genuine. Yet, doubts whispered. Was this rebuilt on sand? Christmas Eve, Mom called. Your father wants to talk. Hope flickered. We drove to Connecticut, snow blanketing the roads. Dad opened the door, looking older. Come in. The living room was decorated traditionally, a fire crackling. I've been thinking, Dad began, about Lucas, about you boys. We sat, expectant. The church teaches forgiveness, but also righteousness. Jamie, who joined reluctantly, tensed. Meaning, I can accept the child, but your lifestyles, I pray for change. Disappointment crashed. Dad, we're not changing, I said. He sighed. Then perhaps limited contact for the baby's sake. It was a crumb, but Jamie took it. Fine. But no preaching. The truce was uneasy, visits supervised, conversations superficial. Mom thrived on seeing Lucas, but Dad's disapproval simmered. Back in the city, Levi and I faced our own trial. An old flame of his, Mark, reappeared at a networking event. Just friends, Levi assured when I noticed their lingering chat. But insecurity gnawed. Like you and Jamie were just friends? He flinched. That's unfair. I've changed. Had he? Trust, fragile, teetered. Meanwhile, Jamie's life stabilized. He graduated college, landed a job in marketing. Lisa and he co-parented amicably, her new boyfriend supportive. But societal whispers, odd looks at playgrounds, questions about the mom, wore on him. One afternoon, he vented over coffee. People assume I'm straight because of Lucas. Or worse, pity me as confused. It's the world we live in, I said. But you're strong. Thanks to you, he replied. Sorry again for everything. Forgiven, I said, meaning it mostly. Then, a twist. Dad suffered a mild heart attack. Hospitalized, he reflected. Mom confided. He's scared. Wants to make amends. We visited, finding him vulnerable. Boys, life's short. I don't agree with your choices, but you're my sons. Tears flowed. Jamie introduced Lucas properly. Dad held him, softening. Perhaps I was wrong to push so hard. It wasn't full acceptance, but a start. Apologies followed. Tentative bridges built. Emboldened, Levi and I planned a recommitment ceremony, small, intimate. Friends gathered in our backyard, the same spot where betrayal unfolded. Vows renewed, rings exchanged. But fate tested us again. Mark contacted Levi, offering a job in LA, tempting with promises of advancement. Would you go? I asked. Only if you come, he said. The decision loomed. Uproot our life? Leave Jamie and Lucas? We debated nights on end. It's a fresh start, Levi argued. Or running away, I countered. Jamie weighed in. Do what's right for you. I'll manage. In the end, we stayed. Stability over adventure. Levi declined, recommitting to us. Yet peace was fleeting. Dad relapsed into old habits, criticizing during a visit. That ceremony wasn't a real marriage. Hurt resurfaced. Jamie snapped. It's real to us. The cycle continued, progress, setbacks. Through it all, I pondered morality. Were our choices right? Betrayal forgiven, but at what cost to self? As Lucas grew, toddling into our lives, he became the glue. Family gatherings, though awkward, happened. Dad mellowed slightly, Mom advocated more. Levi and I thrived professionally, our campaign winning awards. Personal growth followed, therapy ongoing, communication key. But shadows of doubt persisted. One evening, watching Jamie play with Lucas, Levi sighed. What if we had a kid? The question opened new doors and fears. Adoption? Surrogacy? With our history, we explored, facing societal hurdles. Applications scrutinized, judgments implied. Finally, approval came. But the process highlighted inequalities. Straight couples sailed through, we jumped hoops. It fueled activism. We volunteered, advocating change. Yet, personal toll mounted. Jamie's relationship with a new boyfriend, Tom, flourished, but Dad disapproved. Another one? Tensions peaked at Lucas's birthday. Arguments erupted, old wounds reopening. In the aftermath, I reflected. Had forgiveness healed or merely bandaged? The bandage held, but beneath, scars throbbed with every family interaction. Lucas's second birthday party, held at a park in Brooklyn, was meant to be joyous, balloons, cake, laughter. But Dad's presence cast a shadow. He watched Jamie and Tom with thinly veiled disdain, muttering about influences on the child. Mom hushed him, but the damage seeped. Jamie pulled me aside. Why invite him if he's going to judge? For Lucas, I replied, and maybe, deep down, for change. Levi squeezed my hand. We're modeling tolerance. Tolerance, a double-edged sword. We tolerated Dad's views to keep family intact. But at what price to our mental health? Post-party, Levi and I hosted a debrief. It's exhausting, Jamie admitted, Tom nodding beside him. Yeah, I agreed. But walking away means losing Mom, the grandparent's role. Tom, an outspoken activist, challenged. Is partial acceptance worth the pain? Sometimes. Boundaries mean cutting ties. His words resonated. That night, Levi and I discussed. Maybe limited contact, he suggested. The idea took root. We set ground rules, no criticism during visits. Focus on positives. Dad resisted at first. You're dictating terms? Yes, I said firmly. For our well-being. Surprisingly, he complied, perhaps fearing isolation. Visits improved, conversations neutral. Meanwhile, our adoption journey progressed. We matched with a birth mother, excitement building. But doubts crept. Were we ready, given our past? Therapy helped. You've grown, the counselor affirmed. From betrayal to resilience. True. Levi and I were stronger, communication open. Jamie thrived, his bond with Tom deepening. Then, a setback. The birth mother wavered, influenced by her conservative family. They say two dads isn't right. Heartbreak hit. We grieved the loss, questioning society's progress. Why fight when the world pushes back? Levi vented. Because we must, I countered. For Lucas, for future kids. We persisted, eventually welcoming Mia, a newborn via another match. Joy overwhelmed. Sleepless nights, tiny cries, unconditional love. Family reacted variably. Mom adored her. Dad hesitated but warmed. She's innocent, he said, holding her. Jamie and Lucas visited often, a new generation bonding. Yet conflicts lingered. At a family reunion, Dad slipped, decrying modern families in a toast. Jamie exploded. Enough. If you can't accept us fully, stay away. Dad left in huff, Mom torn. The divide widened. Months later, Dad reached out. I miss the grandkids. Can we try again? We agreed with caveats. Slowly, he evolved, attending a PFLAG meeting, reading books on LGBTQ+ issues. Change was incremental but real. I was wrong, he admitted one day. Fear blinded me. Tears flowed, healing begun. Levi and I celebrated our anniversary, reflecting on the journey. From shock to reconciliation, betrayals to bonds. Jamie, now engaged to Tom, shared similar growth. We paid dearly, but look at us now. Indeed, families mended, not perfect, but whole. As Mia cooed in my arms, Lucas chasing her, I pondered the costs. Emotional tolls, lost time, inner battles. Was it worth it? The decisions, the damages, the awakenings. In the end, love prevailed, but not without sacrifice. And so, the question remains. In the face of betrayal and societal pressure, is forgiveness always the right path, or does it sometimes enable further harm?